Welcome to this week's Jackson County Board of Commissioners meeting. Your Board of Commissioners, overseeing these dedicated county departments. And now, your county commissioners, working together for the citizens of Jackson County.
Good morning and welcome to this Wednesday morning, February 1st, first day of the great month of February. It's my birth month, so I can say that. County Commissioners, weekly Board of County Commissioners meeting. To begin with, I'm going to ask Kelly Madding if she'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Kelly. The next item on our agenda is to honor one of our own. I'm going to ask Carol. It is on. Carol, would you come up and join us, please? Thank you. We have a procedure process for those who may not be familiar with, but of trying to honor an employee each month. And this month's employee of the month is Carol Yates of the Planning Department. Let me read a little bit of what your audience, your out here has to say about you, all these nice things.
Rough crowd.
It is. Well, no, look at all those smiles, huh? Jackson County Development Services is pleased to announce Carol Yates as Jackson County's Employee of the Month for February 2012. Carol has worked for Jackson County for 33 years. You must have started extremely young. 12. Very good. Okay. Very good. And that was before child labor laws. She started out in 1979 in the Record Services Department by delivering mail and assisted the purchasing department by taking shopping lists and going out and finding best deals for office supplies. So you were a shopper at 12.
It was fun.
Okay, very good. Okay. For 20 years, she served as what is today we would call the building technician. 4 years ago, Carol was promoted as a planning/building specialist. As a planning and building specialist, Carol is the first person customers see when they come into the development services department. I'm going to say here, I was asking John here because John's our liaison, our board liaison to the building department and developmental services. And I was asking, because he normally digs up a bunch of dirt, and I said, so what do you know about Carol? And she says, she's a gal at the front desk that's always got a great smile on her face. That's a nice reputation. She is tasked with briefly interviewing every customer and answering their questions if she is able. If she's not able to answer their questions, she directs them to a proper division for assistance. In this capacity, Carol has to know about everything that is going on in the department, and she does. She has to know what we do, how we do it, and while that can be an overwhelming amount of information, Carol has mastered it. One of Carol's special skills is reading people, and while she greets each customer with a smile, she pays special care with those that she senses are new to the county and may be intimidated by just coming through the door. Her warm and caring nature puts people at ease. The fact that she has been helping the department's repeat customers for as long as she has allows her to provide them with more personal experience. She knows their names, asks about their family, and what's going on in their lives. Kind of person I'd like to know as a friend. When Carol is not working, she enjoys traveling, reading. She always has a good book she will loan you, and spending time with her family. We are proud to be able to name Carol Yates as Employee of the Month. She has earned our appreciation for her work ethic, her dedication to the Development Services Department, and Jackson County. Thank you, Carol, very much. Kelly, do you want to come on up? And you got something you would like to say?
You know, Carol, thank you so much for all the good work that you do. I mean, greeting all of our customers, trying to determine what people need and where they need to go is a task in and of itself often. And you do that I've seen you take people who are very scared and intimidated by our process and make them feel better and make them feel more secure, that they're in a place where we're here to help them. So thank you so much for all the good work that you do.
Thank you, Kelly. And Commissioner Smith, who has been here about as long as you have, maybe you have some things you'd like to say, sir?
Carol, we've known each other for many years. That's many years. We both started when we were 12. 14 back up. Well, Carol, this is a plaque for your recognition this month, but you know what? I have it on good information because you are so diplomatic. The United Nations will be looking for a new ambassador from the United States very soon. So, and you'd be the perfect person. I mean, you are a saint, okay? You know, people come in, they're pretty crabby, you know, but I want to thank you for all your hard work and how much fun you are to work with as well for everybody. So, thank you.
Nicely said, Dub.
You know, I spend a lot of time down in the development department, and what most people don't realize, half the time I'm down there is just to say hi to Carol, because it's such a pleasure. But just to watch her work, it amazes me. She knows almost every contractor that comes in, and she knows the status of their project. And if I'm casually in there, somebody will come in and she'll say, "Hi, Fred, you know, here's where you are on this and that." And I'm so impressed with that. She's formed a relationship with all the people that she deals with. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's great.
Carol, congratulations. Very much. Thank you.
No song.
You know, I think Carol exemplifies that old saw is that you only have one chance to make a first impression. And so folks entering our developmental services office for the first time and seeing that friendly face at the desk makes a tremendous amount of difference. And I think it just proves that point. You only have one chance to make a first impression. And obviously, she spent 33 years doing a pretty good job of that. Okay, let's move on here on the agenda. Our first agenda item is a request for a discussion of oh no, pardon me. Oh, I almost forgot the highlight of the year. How could I do that?
Well, you're new.
Yeah, I am.
Give yourself some time.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it. Okay, we have the special presentation about the Rogue Valley International Airport, Medford Airport, the A to Z annual report. And last year was John and I's first time at this, and it's just it's a hoot. Anyway, Bern Case, director of our wonderful airport. Welcome, Bern.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Commissioners, staff, it's always a pleasure. It's hard to believe, and time flies. I'd like to say I was 12 when I got here, but I couldn't sell that.
You had hair, though.
This is our 18th presentation of A to Z, and the first time was done kind of on a fluke where one of the advisory committee members said, next month, would you give us a report on everything the airport did this last year from A to Z? And staff took that on as a challenge, and over the years, it's been fun for us as well as informative. I'll turn you first to the executive summary and highlight a couple of the big things, then we'll go through the pictures and the rest. It's been a sluggish year, but we've been able to maintain a pretty level of operation, and we were down a touch, but I expect we're going to be back up over 11 this next year. I don't know that we'll be on a record pace, but I believe we're going to claw our way back up. Air Services has continued well, and as you know, this year we have some positive things happening. Casper, we mentioned in the executive summary, I don't have a section for it. We'd emphasized it last year as we were pushing on it. But Casper was used this season, and we're up to 14 operations, and every operation has been successful. Our cargo buildings are complete, and we have our first tenant in, and we feel really good about that. The master plan is in its final stages. In fact, it's the financial analysis now of how we'll fund things over the next decade or so. Our taxi lane project was also complete, and that was a major project for us. Then turning to the first page with pictures, page A. I'll go through these very rapidly. We had a book signing for Bill Alley, who is the expert on aviation history in Southern Oregon and has written a very good book, and we help sponsor that. Also under A, we have Adam May, who works for Pathways. And as you know, Pathways not only provides us with a service, but they provide rehabilitation and training for people who have special needs. And Adam was selected by them as their Employee of the Year. And he serves the airport very well. Very friendly and competent individual. Under B, when we tore down the old tower, we saved the beacon. It was still operational, and we stuck it in storage. And this year we were able to help out Klamath Falls Airport when their beacon of the same vintage went down. And so we worked with them and helped them out as good neighbors. Boeing did some test flights. We had both the 787 Dreamliner in and the 777-300 on test and certification flights. Civil Air Patrol cadets under C, and this is the unit from Grants Pass, but they were at our airport doing some training, and a medical took place down in the hangar area. And the medical professionals said that their quick acting and their immediate first aid certainly stabilized the person and possibly saved a life. Our airport advisory committee recognized them with a certificate and recognition. We added charging stations to our concourse so that now you don't have to sit around on the floor like that recent commercial on TV is. You can actually sit in a regular seat and charge your phone or your computer. Under D, we had some donated planes from Evergreen Savings, and we probably have enough planes up now, but these added to and filled a couple of spaces we had where they hang nicely. Under E, in conjunction with the county's emphasis for earthquake exercise during April, we held an exercise and really took it seriously. During that exercise, we determined that we'd switch to push-to-talk cell phones versus radios. And all those were really nice in a lot of ways. They were small and a lot of things to their advantage. But when you have an emergency and a lot of people are talking rapidly, it started spinning us off into subgroups. And through this exercise, we determined to go back to regular radios with the frequency that we already had. Under E, we also added Elvis. I wanted to support the county, and so we supported the Halloween contest. And Elvis won. I really felt guilty because Groucho Marx was absolutely fantastic, but we were there to participate. Under F, we held the flag event that a couple of you got to participate in, where we hung the flag that was over the airport on 9/11/2001. And it was a great ceremony and helps us all remember, and it'll hang there permanently. Under F, our freight buildings, as I mentioned in the executive summary, our first tenant is in, and that's been a successful project for us. I always like to be able to say things come in on time and budget. This one came in on budget. Time, we're still not completely open, but we do have our first tenant in. Under G, again under good neighbors, the Ashland Airport had some major construction this year, and Dr. Bender, who serves on our advisory committee as well as on their committee, came to us with the problem they had, and we let them move their aircraft to our airport during that construction and work through our FBOs to do that. Under H, the Historical Society brought a exhibit to the airport and left it up for 6 weeks, and it drew a lot of attention on the agriculture and particularly the dairy industry in our area, and it was a great addition for them, a great exposure for them and a great addition for us. During 2011, we lost our sponsor for our nice clocks. J. Michael Jewelers went out of business, and we went out to look for a great sponsor for that, and Rogue Valley Manor with their Pacific Retirement picked up that sponsorship. Under J, you recognize Carol today. Back last year in the month of May, you got to recognize Jeannie Stark, who's been with the airport twice, and if you go back to her first time being here, she's my most senior employee, although she did have a break in service. On a sadder note, and unfortunately this year we have 3 to emphasize, but Jim Kelly, who was on our airport advisory board, was diagnosed with a very aggressive cancer, and passed away this last year. The advisory committee sponsored a brick at the KC97 location so that we will always remember the good that Jim did for us. KOBI, we have a trade promotion with them. They use the billboard that's out on Biddle Road, and they pay us in television time. And that's been a great relationship for us. They came up with a challenge. I like to save up the credits, and when we get new air service, I would do a big surge. Well, their accountant said it's tough for them to carry over trades, so now we're working on a program where we're going to spend the trades on a regular basis, and right now we're promoting the KC97. Under L, we had a land purchase that was successfully completed, helping us with our building restriction line, and small purchase, but one of those that we needed. Under M, the Mercy Flights project with the Connect Oregon money was a fantastic project and great tenants to work with. As in any major project, you have a conflict here or there, but working with their professional team headed by Ken Parsons, we worked through all those details, and they did finish on time and on budget, and a wonderful facility. Under N, the TSA changed their advisory notifications from the color code, and we went through that system with them. Under new employees, and I'm pleased to say that there's 4 new employees. Most of these were from retirements or county transfers. Our turnover has really been minimal. But Elizabeth, we call her Liz Duggan, in operations, and then 3 in security, William Carmack, Candace O'Dell, and Timothy O'Duane have come on our team. Under O, our operations parking lot had evolved according to need, and we kept putting down more gravel. And to meet city standards and our own standards, we updated that parking lot this year, and now it meets all standards. With ODOT, they're doing a special publication in conjunction with their major Highway 62 project, and they've asked us to be a regular contributor on that, and so they're doing airport news on each edition. The professional certificates program through the county, we had 2 people receive certificates this year, Marcia and Patty from our staff, and we were thrilled to see them improve their professional credentials through that. The quarterly newsletter sponsored by ACE, our Airport Community Enthusiasts Organization, went 100% electronic this year with email, and their membership is now up to over 6,600 members. Michael Quilty, a member of the Airport Advisory Committee, former member of the City Council for Central Point and still represents them on our committee, was at the Reno Air Show when the disaster happened this year. Most of you know Mike and know his background. He's a former federal law enforcement officer and a former paramedic. And where he was at, he was involved in the initial response and actually helped the professionals with the triage and all those things that were taking place. Under R, the Runway Safety Action Team is headed by our tower chief, Tom Williams, and it gives us a chance. He always lets us tag in, but he meets with the GA operators and others on a regular basis to talk about safety issues on the airport. Another loss to us this year was Ron Kaufman. He had that terrible accident a number of years ago, and in 2011 he passed away. Owner and operator of Medford Air, great airport tenant, and they continue with us today. Under S, smoking violations, we actually established through the county ordinance a fine for smoking violations. It's kind of interesting because we had a terrible problem of people just kind of waving off our enforcement officers and not paying attention, and we added the fine, and I have to tell you, we've only written 1 citation. But the problem is solved. Adding the fact that there is a fine to the sign helped us tremendously. And I don't think we're going to have to write very many over the years. Susan Long with our operations department retired. Under T, Teresa Campbell is our new representative from County Council, and she's been doing a great job for us. I can say that in front of Ryan. She not only understands the law, she understands business, and she's not protecting us out of business, and I always appreciate that. Under U, the U.S. Forest Service tanker base has to do certification drops periodically, And we worked with them on their drop this last year and got some great photographs of it. And they wanted to see how effective their drops were. They were very effective. Velton Lee retired from our enforcement staff, and he's a very senior member, a pilot, understands the airport, but more than that, he was a mentor for many of our younger enforcement officers, and his help will linger on. Vera with Horizon, now Alaska Airlines, was point person for their recycling program, and the Airport Advisory Committee recognized her for that effort, and all of us at the airport strive to do recycling, but she is definitely our poster child and has done a tremendous job with it. In our parking toll plaza, we added window film. It's helped us reduce the air conditioning cost and glare and wear and tear on the employees out there, and that was a nice little addition. Another loss this year was Bill Warren. Tremendous man in aviation, air shows, been in the community his entire life. And Commissioner Rasher kind of sponsored that memorial service, and what a wonderful tribute that was. Bill will definitely be missed. Under X, we used Expo this year. And, you know, we mow all the time. We have 885 acres, and a lot of that has to be mowed, so we're really equipped for mowing. Expo only really likes to mow a couple times a year for their major events so they can do their parking, and so we're geared up for mowing. And although we can't give things away free, we gave them a tremendous deal. But we helped them mow prior to their major July event. Under Y, YouTube, we have a friend out there. His name is Bill Kiefer, and he has a YouTube page. And we've come up with our own Facebook page now, but we're out there. And he does the YouTube, and he's so airport positive that it's almost like having a contractor that doesn't charge us. But if you ever look under YouTube in the airport, you'll find he has our videos lifted over and all sorts of things. It's just tremendous. And under Z, I was at an airport conference where they started rating airports this last year by how many zip codes you serve. And so we came back and surveyed ours, and we actually serve 133 zip codes. And of course, we serve a large region, not just the county. Also
Does that include the new area, Oakland? Does that include Oakland?
Oh, no, this is where people come to us to fly out.
Oh, I see, okay.
Also under Z, one of our advertisers this year is a true mom and pop operation right here out of Gold Hill. And we actually have a zip line here that goes through the old mining area. And they wanted to advertise, and we've helped them out, and it's good for us. But the thing I liked on this particular advertising is our wall space is limited. When I can hang something from a rafter and get paid for it, it's a nice addition. And the last page on the back is what makes this all happen. I enjoy being the team leader at the airport, but our staff is fantastic, and these things wouldn't happen without everybody pulling together. And that's your 2011 A to Z report. Thank you.
Thanks, Bern. Questions, comments, commissioners?
Bern, do you know that of that 133 zip codes, where that placed us in the rank? Did they talk about that at all?
You know, they're easing into it, so I don't really have a ranking yet, but I think it's going to be really good. And,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
big
so.
cities have a lot of zip codes, but our amount of real estate,
Sure.
I'll try and find that out for you at this year's conference.
Yeah, interesting.
Very,
Yeah, thank
Commissioner
you.
Smith?
very good.
Okay.
Once
As
again,
usual.
very good, Bern.
It's
Thanks,
always
Bern.
fun to do this.
Thank you, Marcy. Yeah, X-ray.
Yeah, we did get the body scanner, so okay, thank you much.
You bet.
Thank
You
you.
bet. We'll see you later, Elvis.
Elvis is leaving
Elvis
the
is
building.
leaving the building. Okay, very good. Well, moving on.
Is leaving the building.
Pardon me?
Elvis is leaving the
Was
building.
that, okay, you have that professional voice, Commissioner. Moving to our next agenda item is a request for and discussion of non-agenda items. Members of the audience may address any item not on the agenda. State statute prohibits the Board of Commissioners from discussing a principal subject that is not on the agenda, but the Board of Commissioners does listen to your concerns and may ask staff to follow up on any questions you raise. So with that, are there any items that would like to be discussed by the audience that are not on the agenda? Going once, going twice, none. Okay, moving along on the next item on the agenda is 20.00 consent calendar. 20.01 is minutes of the meeting of the Board of Commissioners regular meeting of January 18, 2012. The second item is an order proclaiming February 12 through 18, 2012 as the Southern Oregon Human Trafficking Awareness Week, Order 1712. I'd like to read that, if I may. Order 1712 is, whereas human trafficking is the recruitment, harboring, and transportation provision or obtaining a person for labor or services through the use of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of forced labor or sexual servitude. And whereas over 100,000, let me repeat that number, 100,000 children in the U.S. are currently exploited through commercial sex each year. And whereas youth of all ages are affected by human sex trafficking, and whereas more awareness and education is crucial to eradicating human trafficking in our communities, state, and nation. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Jackson County proclaims February 12th through the 18th, 2012, as Southern Oregon Human Trafficking Awareness Week and urges its residents of Jackson County to support efforts and to take action to end human trafficking. 20.03, order reappointing Jeff Fitzgerald and Jackson Barris to the Ambulance Service Quality Assurance Committee. Order number 18-12, and finally 20.04, order approving bylaws for the Economic Development Advisory Committee, order number 1912. Commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the consent calendar as read and approved, or as presented.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Moving on, 30.00, public hearings. There are no public hearings scheduled for today. Next item on the agenda is 40.00, discussion and deliberation. 40.01 is an order authorizing amendment number 1 to a Jackson County Personnel Services contract with Frank Hammond, order number 20-12. Danny?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Jackson County is faced with ongoing litigation cases. Frank Hammond and Jackson County did enter into a Jackson County Personal Services contract for legal services on May 23rd of 2011. This amendment number 1 extends the term of the contract that's necessary in order for Mr. Hammond to continue and complete his work on cases that were previously assigned to him for fiscal year 2011 and 12. The amendment's effective upon execution until May 22nd of 2012. The maximum amount for services shall not exceed $40,000. It's a potential not to exceed expense of $40,000. It is budgeted, and I do recommend your approval.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners?
No, Frank does a great job. Valuable asset.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 20-12.
Thank
I
you.
will second that.
Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Next item is 40.02, an order authorizing a restitution pilot grant award agreement number 11-3737 with the State of Oregon Department of Justice be under our order number 21-12. Again, Danny, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, as you may know, restitution collection across the state of Oregon by all courts is very low. Jackson County is one of the lowest in the state, the top 5 in terms of collection for restitution. This program is geared towards offenders that are on supervision with Jackson County. I might note there's a lot of restitution that's ordered for people that are not on supervision, so it's not something the county can impact. For this particular group of people, this is a pilot project where the state of Oregon, through the Department of Justice, did make awards to 5 counties, and we're one of those 5 counties. The goal of the project, given the low rate of collection, is to increase restitution collection and payments by criminal offenders that are on supervision with our Jackson County Community Justice Department. The grant will provide revenue to assist in ordering and collecting criminal restitution dollars. It will be used to fund a portion of a probation officer position and also a restitution specialist. So the goal here is to consolidate cases where restitution is owed under the supervision of an officer and make restitution collection one of the primary focuses of the responsibility of that officer. Jackson County will receive approximately $201,223 over an 18-month period of the grant. Term of the grant's January 2nd, 2012 through June 30th of 2013. It does require ratification to become effective January 2nd of 2012. Might also add that this is being done in partnership with our Jackson County Circuit Court, who's involved, and it's a revenue to the county of $201,223, and I do recommend your approval.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Well, besides that revenue, we have the revenue of the restitution we'll be recovering also, correct?
Restitution is actually paid directly to victims of crimes.
I see. Okay.
So the county, it's not a collection for the county.
Okay.
It's,
All right. Thank you for that clarification.
In fact, I think there was an article in today's paper talking about that. Not this specific, but about restitution and the low rate that's collected in this morning's paper. Anything, Commissioner Smith?
Fine.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve order number 21-12.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call?
Commissioner Rasher?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes, thank you. The next item on the agenda is 40-03, an order authorizing amendment number 1 to the agreement number 135915 with the State of Oregon, Oregon Health Authority, our order number 22-12. Again, Danny, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, last fiscal year, Jackson County did enter into an agreement. It's agreement number 135915 with the State of Oregon, Oregon Health Authority. This was to engage the Latino community in youth suicide prevention. As a bit of background, this came about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. There were a handful of suicides and suicide attempts in White City, and the state, as part of a primary project, provided funding to do outreach and education for suicide prevention for the Latino community. In this case, there are 2 employees that work with La Clinica who do mentoring for youth who are contemplating suicide, who have been shown signs of depression or other issues that lead to potential suicide attempts. They have also worked with youth who have previously contemplated suicide or attempted suicide to serve as mentors to kids who are struggling. At this point, they've also held several community forums in White City and done what is called artwork around suicide and done a display and a forum for displaying of that art for youth. This amendment is meant to provide additional funding toward that ends. Provides up to $15,000 in additional funding to Jackson County, extends the termination of the current agreement from September 29th of 2011 to September 29th of 2012. And it's a revenue of $15,000, and I do recommend your approval.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think this is money well spent. It's a preventive effort for a very serious problem, and just saving one life from just a monetary issue and impact to the community and the family is well worth it. So this is I commend the County Health Department. It's a prevention effort, just like getting an inoculation survey is a big prevention tool. So anyway, I think it's a very good program.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rasher?
I'd like to ask staff, what's the dispersion route for this money? It'll come from the state, it goes to our health department?
Yeah, it's managed through our health department. Michelle Morales is the program manager, and we manage the funds via contracts with, as I said, there are a couple of employees through La Clinica who are the primary people that are the front for the program that actually do the work. Internally, the county manages the fund. We serve as the fiduciary agent. We provide the reports back to the state, and funds can be used for various activities within the program. So if we need to, buy materials or supplies to create artwork or those kinds of things,
That's what I was thinking. It's not a lot of money, so it's probably art supplies and things.
This is an amendment to an initial contract, so this is additional funding. And I know you're probably going to ask me, and I know that Ryan from the paper called this morning and asked me what the initial funding amount was, and I would have to pull the contract to see because I don't remember.
Okay.
Teen suicide is such a serious issue nationally and probably worldwide. It's just such a tough time to grow up. So many things going on. So as Commissioner Smith said, I think anything that we can do that might alleviate or help a youngster go through those difficult teenage years or something, especially those exhibiting symptoms of depression and suicidal tendencies, is well worth the expenditure of money. So with that, I'm looking for a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve order number 22-12.
Thank you.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. Roll call, please. He's just new.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to the last agenda item is 40.04. It's an order authorizing Jackson County contract for services with VP Consulting Incorporated. It's our order number 23-12. Danny?
Mr. Chair, last year, Jackson County contracted with VP Consulting Incorporated. This was to implement Laserfish electronic document imaging specific to the records section of the Sheriff's Office. That was a very successful implementation and rollout, and following that, several of our other departments have made a commitment to implement Laserfish electronic document imaging, engaging VP Consulting Incorporated to provide electronic document management will reduce physical storage space requirements. It'll also allow for off-site electronic record storage, as well as reduce the amount of time needed for document retrieval. Of course, we won't have to go out to our archives and pull hard copies of records that have been stored away for a long time. In this case, the term of the contract is from date of execution through December 31st of 2012. It's a total estimated expenses between all departments of $35,000. However, it won't be a one-time payment. Each department would contract individually, and it would be budgeted within each department's budget for further execution of the contract, and I do recommend your approval.
Okay, thank you. I find it interesting, some of the names that this equipment and software come up with. With that, questions? Comments?
I have no questions, and I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, very good.
Same here. I move approval of order 23-12.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Well, that concludes our agenda for this Wednesday morning here on February 1st, 2012. Thank you for those that are attending here physically. We appreciate that. And also for the folks who may be watching this program on television, either live or later on. Thank you very much. And this meeting is adjourned.
You've been watching the weekly Jackson County meeting, held every Wednesday morning at 9:30. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact the commissioners at 774-6116. You can also visit www.jacksoncounty.org and click on Video and TV